Infernal blessings. All right, we are back with another video. A couple quick announcements before I get into the video. Won't be too long of a video, maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. If you're interested in a 2024 yearly forecast reading, feel free to reach out and send me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. Please put in the subject box yearly forecast reading, very important, so that stands out. I'm trying to make sure I get all those booked on time because, again, we're almost in the middle of January, so I'm only going to be doing them for a few more weeks. So I do want to make sure they all get booked. All right, and I'll be doing them again, as I said, to about the first week, maybe second week in February max, and then that's it. I stop, and I'll start it again next year around early November. All right, so if you're interested in a 2024 yearly forecast reading, or if you are interested in any other type of reading that I do offer, a Klipothic demonic reading, a Santa Muerte reading with the spirits of the dead, if you are interested in a shadow work reading, an Egyptian oracle reading, a deity reading, any of those readings or spiritual consultation, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to book a reading or a consultation. Please, to speed up the process, just include your days, your full weekly availability. I gotta stress that, I'm sorry. Because some people say, I'm available Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Again, I have to keep reiterating, it doesn't work like that. Give me what you're available on a weekly basis from Sunday to Saturday, okay? And the time zone you are in, that will speed up the process. This way I can shoot you back some dates within your window of availability that'll work for you and that'll work for me, okay? All right, if you're interested in signing up for classes, the way to sign up for classes, I do 3 private classes every month on Patreon for Patreon members only, including a group ritual that we all do together at the end of the month. The way to sign up for that is go to patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, tier 3. That's the tier you want to join. That will give you access to all of the classes, not just from the day you join moving forward, but you get access to almost 4 years worth of classes, ritual work, assignments that's in the archives. You get access to all the continual ongoing series. I'm constantly adding new classes, new content all the time. You get access to all of the group rituals, which is 39 and counting. So all of that is available for you if you want to take that path of self-mastery to the next level. All right. So that's patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, tier 3. And that will give you access to everything on the Patreon. All right. Also, mark your calendars. Take that mental note. Later this year, October 2024, end of October, we will have the 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference here in Hollywood, Florida, at Cultural Expressions. More to come on that as we get later into the year. I just want to keep pumping it out there. Keep putting that date, putting that thought in your head to get you prepared. And I'm sure as we get later in the year, we'll start making preparation for that, coming up with more ideas and concepts. This past year, I thought we had a great conference. We did a few different things. We changed it up a little bit, which was good. But we'll see where the spirits guide us as we get later into the year, into our cycle, our time of power, right? Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The link to the podcast is in the description box of this video. Check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, all one word. Check us out on Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. I upload all this new YouTube content. I also upload it to the Facebook page. So you can find that content there. So everything that I went through, the social media pages, the direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, anything you need, the direct link for the Patreon page to sign up for classes, all that's in the description box of the video. All right. I will also just throw out there the next live. Not sure if it's not this week, it'll be next week. I will be reviewing the Luciferian Sorcery book, a brand new release that just came out in the last few weeks from the Temple of the Ascending Flame, from various authors who are initiated members of the Temple of the Ascending Flame. One of those authors is including myself. I've contributed several workings to that book. I encourage you to check out that book because the whole book is centered around self-empowerment rituals. right? Self-empowerment ritual, self-mastery. It's a great book if you're looking for ritual work to master yourself. And that's what real Luciferian sorcery is. It's rituals to empower yourself, okay? And if you understand that concept, that should be your goal on this path, all right? So I will be reviewing that book. I kind of want to talk about in this video, that's why I titled it, I kind of want to talk about Luciferian sorcery and magic, okay? Not so much, I'm not going to talk about the book in this video because we're going to do that in the book review, but I'm gonna talk about Luciferian sorcery and self-empowerment, right? Because it's tied, it's together, right? It goes hand in hand with what we do. It goes hand in hand with what should be one of your main purposes and goals while you're on this path. Should be for self-empowerment, right? Another term that's in alignment with self-mastery, right? Same thing. So Luciferian sorcery and self-mastery is critical because, look, I want to make this clear. As I've said before in the past, just like we have vampire magic, just like you might have Egyptian Heka, there are different perspectives of these systems, right? So if you are an individual who understands Luciferian philosophy and spiritual practice, right? If you're very familiar with it, and you've done research and you've read different books by different authors and teachers, you're going to find out there's different perspectives on it. I just want to make that clear. All right? There's not one perspective. There's going to be a lot of similarities, right? So the question always comes up, right? And I have to address this because it's in alignment with another question that kind of comes up all the time that's connected to it. Does a Luciferian look at Lucifer as a literal being? Okay? This comes up. Now, as I've said in the past, some Luciferian practitioners do. Yes, literally. Some say it's symbolic, it's metaphorical. It represents different aspects of your subconscious mind, right? That's another concept or grasp. I'm going to tell you and be straight, as I've said before in the past, and I'm going to say it again. It is all of those things, and let me explain, right? Lucifer is not a deity the way deity is taught to you in religion and spookism and monotheism and Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, this, that, or the other. No, absolutely not. Okay? I want to make that clear. Okay? When we talk about a lot of these deities, spirits, and demons being energy, right, is what we talk about all the time. We say that they're energy, right? We're working with beings that are energy, right? We have to be crystal clear on the fact when we say that they're energy, energy can manifest because energy can be manipulated. It can manifest on a multitude of different levels. So as I said before, and this doesn't just apply to Lucifer. If you look at Lucifer as a literal deity, just like you would any deity on this path, and you give it a shape, a form, a void, a visual. As I said before, use some common sense and reasoning. Okay? Very important. Because if you go into ritual work, you go into meditation, visualization work, and you're conjuring up images of Lucifer and how it's appearing to you in your mind through your ritual work, because people will make statements of a deity appearing to them and in their ritual work, and they saw a manifestation of this, that, or the other, right? I keep saying it's what you fed your mind is how you give shape and form to deities. So when people say, I've done work with Lucifer, and Lucifer appeared to me and manifested to me like this, that, or the other, it's something you created by what you absorbed, by what you experienced. And that ties into a bunch of different factors. It could be visual things, artwork, images. It could be concepts that you grasped in your mind. Because when you grasp a concept of something you read in a book, whether you're aware of it or not, you are also creating imagery simultaneously within your subconscious mind so you can assimilate the information that you're processing. It's what you're doing. Even when you're reading a book that's words, but those words are describing things and painting a visual, you are creating that visual in your mind as you're reading it. Okay? So that's what makes Lucifer or any other deity literal to an individual who has that experience, or some might just use the concept or the metaphor. That's why I say either way, it is very real. It just depends on your perspective and how you're perceiving it. Because if we really understand that if we say these are beings of energy, right? Because we always, again, I have to always stress it. We use that word a lot on this panel. Yeah, working with the energies, right? People use it so loosely. Yeah, it's different energy. I'm tapping into the energy this, the energy that. Well, energy, again, can be manipulated. It can take shape, form, right? It can speed up at a high frequency or a vibration and have an effect on that level. So we're working with, in essence, its energy at its vital core, okay? When you give it a anthropomorphic or a physical form, you are creating that, which is still in alignment with the principle that you are a god or a goddess. Because you're still staying within the spectrum, all is mental, mental is all. The universe is mental. You're not going out to Spookyville looking to connect with the spirit, the demon, the god, the goddess, the archetype. You're looking to go into the deep aspect, the void, the abyss, the telepathic realms of your subconscious mind. In there is the truth that you're seeking. And that's why they say all is mental, mental is all. The universe is mental, right? Because it's your subconscious mind that connects you to the greater understanding of these things. And this is why we say in Luciferian philosophy, you need to look no further but the mirror to find God. This is why we talk about self-deification, self-mastery, self-empowerment, whatever you want to call it. It's all about you being the focal point in the sense, not in it. See, people get it fucked up and twisted because they don't understand. Not in the sense from an egotistical, arrogant, or a selfish way. No, we say self-empowerment, self-deification, self-mastery, that we refuse to be a mental slave and look outside of ourselves for the truth, right? Because that was the biggest lie that they instituted to us from day one. As soon as we were conscious and aware, they told us to look for truth, the mysteries of spirituality, God, deity outside of ourselves, somewhere out in Spookyville. That's spooky. That's fucked up. So people get it twisted. I've seen so many bad videos from people or classes or podcasts over the years from people who just have the false concept of what the left-hand path and the occult is. They're so brainwashed with, it's devil worship and blood sacrifice and just all of the sensational things. That does not apply to everybody on the occult or the left-hand path. It was just like you still run into people who, when you say the occult, the left-hand path, or you mention Lucifer or the devil or the adversary, you're a devil worshiper, or you're Satan, or you're Church of Satan. And not everybody on the occult or the left-hand path is a Satanist or a practitioner of the Church of Satan or any one of those organizations. There's nothing wrong with it if that's your thing, but I'm saying stop putting everybody in the same box is what I am saying. That's like saying somebody who studies Kemet or Egypt that they're all coming from the exact same perspective. That's not true either. That's just like saying when you look into any of the world religions, right? That so-called claim, let's look at Christianity. How many sects of Christianity are there? A gang of them. I'd be here all day talking about them. Though the confusion of it all is they claim to follow the same prophet. There's doctrinal differences, which doesn't make them all quite the same, right? They're similar, but not identically the same. So you have people who accept Jesus as being, for an example, the creator God. Some don't accept that. Some have doctrinal difference of his divinity. It's just pure confusion. But not all Christians, quote unquote, are in the same boat. Not all sects of Islam are identically the same. I'm not saying it makes them right, but I'm saying you'll find that in any spiritual system, any practice, right? So I'm saying all that to say, if somebody mentions Luciferian or Lucifer, doesn't make that, and that's why I did that video, is being a Luciferian the same as a Satanist? Absolutely not. Two totally different things. Why? Why is it true? If you don't understand that and you don't recognize that, then you need to do more research. It's two totally different approaches. Okay? Totally different. And go refer to that video. I'm not going to get into that here. But what I am saying is, don't stereotype people and put them inside a box when you don't understand what perspective they're coming from. Okay? I don't come from the perspective I'm coming from, and what I teach and what I do is always centered around self-mastery. I always teach you, you are the deities and they are you. You're not trying to worship them. You're trying to embody and become what they are and what they represent. See, there's a difference. Just like I don't teach ancestral worship. Would never use that word. Stopped using that when I left those conscious, woke systems years back. Because you can't worship yourself. Your ancestors have the same DNA blood in their veins that runs through your veins. So how the fuck do you worship yourself? Ancestral veneration is completely different. To venerate something is to uplift it, acknowledge it, give it respect. Right? That's veneration. To acknowledge something, to respect it. Right? Not to worship, grovel in front of it, this, that, and the other. We don't do that shit. Okay? If you do it, power to you. But I'm making it clear that's not what I teach people. Okay? You make that choice. If you go, hey, Baniti, I do it. It works for me, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 then great. You don't need to reach out to me and tell me. Good. Good for you. Still not going to teach that. Okay? And those that know. As you go on your journey, you understand why. Some figure it out earlier, some figure it out later in their path. But that's neither here nor there. But Luciferian sorcery and self-empowerment, Luciferian sorcery, self-mastery, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is about. Okay? A Luciferian, again, is one who is illuminated. What is a Luciferian illuminated with? Light. What does the light represent? Intellect, knowledge. But a Luciferian's goal is to be able to apply that knowledge, then that shows and exercises that they have wisdom to apply that knowledge. See, Luciferian practice isn't for everybody. Now, this is why if you even look in Egyptian Heka, and for those of you that are in the Egyptian Heka mentorship program, or those of you in the mentorship program, you know it's one of the highest forms of Luciferian practice in spiritual philosophy. That's in essence what Egyptian Heka is. Because what Egyptian Heka is and what Luciferian philosophy is, it's merging the true and higher self with the spirit and the soul. You can call it the Agatho daemon. You can call it the personal daemon. You could call it the holy guardian angel, as Crowley referred to it in OTO and Thelema. Whatever you want to refer to it as, it's awakening the God within. The true God within is that personal daemon. Right? That's what brings about that connection to deity, to spirit. That's what opens up your intellect, and it gives the Luciferian practitioner the ability to receive that intellect or that whole light. Right? That's the goal. That's what this is about. That's what Luciferian sorcery is truly about. Okay? Because when you're a sorcerer or a sorceress, male or female, regardless, you have a vast understanding of the elements, nature, creation, the micro and the macrocosm. You know the formula of magic. You have mastered the ability of the thorough understanding of how to bridge and harmonize your objective consciousness with your subjective consciousness. You can vibrate and move within different realms and planes of existence on the multiverse through meditation, astral travel, out-of-body experiences, all of these things. Okay? This is what I teach people and show people. Because there could be somebody, again, that's why I said in the beginning of the video, there's different perspectives and approaches on Luciferian. It's not just Luciferian. I'm saying that because we're talking about Luciferian sorcery or philosophy. Okay? So I'm not saying that my perspective is the tell-all, be-all, because it's not. But this is what I've grasped. This is what I learned. And I can only teach what I've learned and my experiences and impart and share them with those that want to tap in on that level and then apply their own unique methodology of how to work with that. That's all. It's not that complex, you know, but I can only explain it from my perspective. Because I know, look, I've run into people that say, well, excuse me, this is how I work with Lucifer and it works for me. Yeah, okay, if it works for you, then there's nothing really you need to do but keep doing what you're doing. But this is the method that works for me. That a lot of those other methods just don't work for me. And I've read a lot of books on Luciferian practice. A lot, from different authors, different teachers. And what I've done and what I do with everything in my research and my study, I grasp what I vibrate with, what resonates with me, and I take all the ingredients. It's like a chef, right? I pull the ingredients from this teacher, author, this book, this, that, or the other, and like a chef, I come up with my own recipe, right? And that's what works for me. That's all that matters. And that's how you need to keep developing your path of self-mastery. Because you're going to read books by many authors and teachers. You're not going to agree with everything in those books. I don't agree with everything in every book that I read. But that's how you're supposed to cipher through things and gravitate and resonate with those things that are connected with you on that level. That's it. It's that simple. So this is about, you know, creating that path of self-mastery. And again, I'll use more so the term in this video, self-empowerment, right? Because yeah, we talk about self-mastery, self-deification, but empowerment, to have power, right? What is power? Knowledge is power. But knowledge is only power if you apply it and use it right, okay? And that's the goal of a Luciferian. They're trying to see, they're constantly, he or she is constantly seeking illumination. And for those of you who recently, just a few weeks ago, took the plunge, so to say, and took your self-initiation, and a few of you reached out to me, right? A few of you reached out to me, and you shared your experience to me, and some of you came from along the lines of, man, I understand now. And then some of you followed up with me a couple of weeks later, how immediately you started going through some serious spiritual changes, okay? Because absorbing Luciferian spiritual philosophy and practice, your consciousness starts to expand. You start to tap in on levels that you've never tapped in before. Trust me when I tell you, okay? So that's all part of the experience. That's all part of the growth. That's all part of, you know, traveling the journey on this path of this practice. That's it. It's that simple. Okay? So whether I do it this week or next week, when I do the live, I'm going to go in depth more about that book, Luciferian Sorcery, because that's what the book is centered on. That's what the book is focused on. Specifically self-empowerment. And again, if you're looking for a book for ritual work designed for Luciferian spiritual practice, that would be a book I highly recommend. 100%. Okay? That's the perspective I come from. You know, whether using these titles, they're just to describe certain practices. I'm a Luciferian practitioner, 100%, a draconian magician. One of my main paths is the draconian tradition, right? And if you understand the draconian tradition, it's not an easy path, right? But it's a very rewarding, it's a challenging path, but it's a very rewarding path because it cuts no corners. It strips away all the bullshit, and it's gonna make you deal with shit head on. Okay? So that's the angle, if you want to call it that. I don't even really like that word, but that's the avenue or the perspective that I'm coming at. That's it. Okay? Is it for everybody? Absolutely not. This path, period, isn't for everybody. I know a lot of people think, yeah, I'm built for this. Listen, I've heard the rah-rah shit I don't know how many times over the years. I've heard all the gunslingers, the gung-ho, I'm so dark and deep and occultish and this, that, and the other. I've seen them come and go. I could be here all day I could be talking to people. I could be on this video talking about how many people I've seen come and go over the years. Okay? That's why I did that video a while back. Many are called on this path, just like every other system or many things in life. Many people are called to do many different things. But only the chosen ones stick around for long periods of time, or stick around, period. Okay? That's the difference between somebody who's called and somebody who's chosen to be on this path. So if you're on this path, all those people that were called, they're the people you're seeing come and go. Those are the people that were called, but they were just called for a particular reason. They were just called to be here for a specific period of time. The chosen ones, they've been here since day one. And they ain't going anywhere. Okay? Because as I said also in the past, where do you go after being on this path? Just give me a logical explanation. Where would you go after being on a path of self-mastery like this? The path of the occult, the left-hand path. What, you're going to go back to being Christian? You're going to go back to being a Muslim or a Jew or a Buddhist? Or you're going to go back and submerge yourself into Ifa/Santeria? You're going to go back into what? Palomaembe, Palomante? What are you going to go back to doing? Okay? Those are just lesser systems of what this path embodies. Yes, and you could practice them in your own unique way, but I'm saying, what are you going to go back exclusively into one of those lesser systems? Right? After this, this is it. This is it in the sense that your journey really begins from here and now is continual and continues on. Okay? You can't, anything, if you leave and go to anything else outside, you're taking a step back into the lesser mysteries. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not talking about the person who was fooled and deceived and got spooked out and scared on his path and they ran back to being a Christian and convinced themselves that they're sanctified and saved and they're back where they are. I'm not talking about that person. That's some spooky shit right there. I'm not talking about that. Okay? I'm talking about where you're going to voluntarily leave and go back to doing something. You understand that is nowhere near on the level of this path as far as what you're going to learn and how you're going to grow. Only people that are on this path and then regress and go back are people who were just called. They weren't cut for this path. They weren't chosen for this path. All right? That's my whole point. Anyway, other than that, that's going to wrap this video up. So it's about self-empowerment. Okay? That's what true Luciferian sorcery and practice is truly about. All right? So other than that, again, just want to remind you, if you again, you want to book a yearly forecast reading or any other reading, my contact email address, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos podcast if you want to get some of these classes in MP3 format where you can listen to it in earbuds while you're driving, exercising, hanging around the house, whatever. The social media pages, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All that information for any of the aforementioned is in the description box of this video you are watching now. That's going to do it for me. I will see you guys on the next video. I'm going to try to get maybe a couple more videos up tomorrow. 1 or 2. We'll see. As you know, I try to post consistently throughout the week. It just depends on what's going on. All right. I appreciate you guys. Infernal blessings. And we will talk soon.